Hello again, this is Justin Haynes here from Brickright. This is the Brickright podcast, the van vlog, and today I'm going to be talking about varying prices from companies and leaves clients, absolutely mind boggled as to which one they choose and why the prices have come in so differently. How can I help you with that? Well, we'll talk about that throughout the course of the podcast. Why does it happen? It leaves people confused. Maybe people put their jobs off. Let's chat about, the things that I've come up with over the years I've been doing it with my experience as to why this happens on such a regular basis. First things first, everybody wants to value where these little bad boys go. So what we're going to talk about is for you to look after these and for you to spend these in the right place with the right people. Hopefully I can help you to look after these and do exactly that. So you're probably thinking, why? What's the reason for all these things with all these extreme prices and, so different in price to each other? Well, I've come up with a few little things, varying prices. So if you're doing a building project like like an extension, or it could even apply to a garden, then overcomplicated set of drawings, a complicated design, and a really complex drawing can put a lot of confusion onto the contractor. So, if you get one of those and it's way over the top, it's really, really to the extreme, it's confused the crap out of everybody. So what people will tend to do is they'll poop themselves, and they wouldn't want to undercut themselves on the project. So say the project, for example, throw in figures, say the project's £20,000. The builder might start reading this and think, well, I want the project, but this is really, really overcomplicated. So do you know what? I'll chuck an extra £3,000 on, or I'll chuck an extra £5,000 on, or somebody might be stupid and chuck an extra £10,000 on and think, well, it's an overcomplicated job. It's going to give me a headache. If we don't get it, then fine. But if we do get it, then at least I've got some money in there to be able to cover me, to be able to work with a complex drawing like that. Because again, and you could go the other end of the spectrum where you've got a drawing that's so poor in its design that you assume as a builder or landscaper, you assume then what does he mean by this? You might even phone the architect, and they're not very forthcoming in telling you exactly what's what. They've had their money, and a lot of them are great, but some of them are obviously not so great. So both ends of the spectrums there could result in you having lots of varying different prices. So another one, moving on a little bit from the set of plans, is tender information. Is it flaky or is it ambiguous? You could have things in there like where they hold your money for up to 3 months after the project's completed. So there's a retention on it of 10%. So say you build in a home or an extension for Mr. and Mrs. Jones. A lot of architects will treat it as if you're building a school for a county borough council. And they'll chuck a whack of retention on it for you. So a lot of builders, what they'll do, in the trade, there's a lot of people who don't ever get their retention. They make excuses and they keep your retention. So what the builder might do is he might put the retention on anyway. Say it's 10 grand, he might chuck a 10 grand on top of the price. So if you keep the, if the architect or whatever keeps the retention, then he's not out of pocket. So that could also happen as well. And there could be a multitude of complications in there. We've had it before where the architect signs certain bits of the project off and then we get paid when we're building an extension. That's caused a lot of back payments, and it's caused a lot of late payments. So builder might chuck in a couple of extra quid if the architect is overcomplicated his tender information. So there we go, that's another one. Yeah, then there's that one of poor design. So what I mean by that is, if you're going to go into a garden, so say you're doing any landscaping work, or you're doing your building work for an extension, whatever it may be. If you work into a design, architect goes in, or company goes in, or whoever it may be, they go in, chat to the client, ask them what their expectations are, ask them what they want. Then they would give them a rough price to see if it conforms with their budget. So, say for saying's sake, somebody's gone in there and they've given you a budget of £60,000 to work with. Again, garden, extension, whatever it may be, £60,000 to work with as a budget. You know, the architect could design that project and it's never going to cost £60,000. You know, he might be designing it, or she might be designing it as like an £80,000 or £100,000 or a £70,000 project. So then design has got a major part to play in why, you know, you could be paying inflated prices for what you think you're actually going to get. So moving on to the next one, and I found this a lot with where I go to do my quotations, and I ask people if they could possibly get like for like quotation. So what I mean by that is, you know, say I go in there and the clients asked me to do a brick wall, they've asked me to do a load of steps, some astro or artificial grass, some porcelain, and it might be an extension, what again, whatever it is, right? You know, if you guys as consumers out there, if you ask the builder or landscaper to price up like for like, so try and get it as close to the same materials, the same specification, because all the builders are going to be pricing up then for exactly the same job. So you get a perspective of how much the builder is going to charge for the same job as everybody else. You know, if a builder comes there or landscaper comes there and they say, well, I disagree with the last guy, I don't think you need a block wall there jointed, I think you need a brick wall there, Flemish bond, double skin, all singing and dancing, that's going to be a lot more money than just a single skin block, concrete block wall, isn't it? So then the budget is going to be sky high. So yeah, manage that side of it. Really, really important that you ask for like quotes. I have heard this one, and I would expect that, you know, some people out there would actually do this. I'd like to say that I don't do this. If I don't want a job, I'll just say quite plain and frank, I don't want the job, I'm awful sorry, the job's not for us. But what you may find is, you know, and I've heard this, by no means have I experienced this by anybody that I know, but I have heard of this happening, is, you know, builder goes there, landscaper goes there, doesn't want the job, so it's the £20,000 job, so he sticks 35 grand in because he don't want the job, and if he gets it, it's a bonus because he's on 50 grand extra for a job that he don't want. So be very careful of that one. I'm not saying it happens all the time, I'm not saying everybody or every builder's out there to do that. The ones I know, certainly not, but obviously there are people out there that would do that, so be careful. Material choices, quite plain and simple. Example, I'll do a garden example. If you want a high-end porcelain product that's going to cost 60, 65, 70, 80 pounds per square metre, and you want a concrete slab that's going to cost 20 pounds per square metre, obviously the porcelain product is going to be a lot more expensive than the other product. So keep your material choice same then as you possibly can, so that the prices are not varying so much between each quotation. Every builder, landscaper, we've all got different overheads. There's other companies out there that have got a lot more overheads than me. They might have vans on the road, multiple vans. They might have, you know, a lot more guys to pay, you know, their overheads. They might have a secretary in the office. They might have a yard. All those different things, a multitude of different computers and accountants and everybody working behind the scenes. So, you know, or you could go to the other end of the spectrum where you just got a one man and his dog, so to speak, a one-man band who hasn't got all those overheads. He might be doing it all himself, so they could be a lot cheaper. But then what you've got to consider is, are they somebody you're going to want to work with? Have they got boys working on the books? Have they got their public liability? And have they got their employer's liability all set up? Have they got a tidy van? Are all their tools up to date? All that kind of stuff. Do they wear a company uniform? So, you know, are you choosing somebody for what you expect to do your building projects to coincide with what their overheads may be? Because, you know, quite simply, if you buy cheap, you don't necessarily always get cheap, but there's a good chance that you will get cheap. So, you know, if you've got the big builder out there who's got all these massive overheads, I'm not saying they're better than the little guy, because quite often it's the other way around. But if they've got all these big overheads and they're a big company with a good reputation or whatever, then obviously they'll be varying price. So moving on then, more things to consider when you're choosing your builder or landscaper. Their expertise and their experience. Have they got honed skills? Or they've taken years and years and years to build up those skills and their experience? Have they got quality results? Do you expect quality results off them? With all those traits that they've got there, all those good things they've got, they'd like to say that they would minimize on errors made on your project. They'd probably be good at problem solving. Their efficiency, again, would probably be really good because they've got all those good things going within their business. So they've taken a multitude of years to expand upon and learn upon and grow upon. And then, ask yourself, does that then justify the varying in prices in terms of it being maybe higher than somebody who doesn't tick all those boxes? So you've got to ask yourself then, Builder P, he's 25 grand, and Builder A, he's come in at £20,000, but Builder P has got all the traits that I just mentioned. So you might want to pay an extra £5,000 to get all those qualities that person, that builder, has worked long and hard to achieve. It's going to cost more money, aren't they? So yeah, just be mindful of that. I can vouch for this one, and I'm a stickler for this one myself. Is quality of workmanship. You price up a job and you think, right, it's going to take me 3 months, it's going to take me 10 days, whatever it is, right? So you go there, and I'm a stickler, my OCD starts coming, and I really want to do a quality job for myself, for the lads, for Brickright, for the name of the company, and for the customer that I'm there to do the work for. I want to do the best. So quite often, we'll change things up, we'll do it a different way, or we'll spend half a day or a full day doing it, just to make it look really, really good for the client. Now, that at some point that's got to cost money. So you're going to get a variation in price there because you actually pay for. I'm saying that now, and I'm sat here, and most of the time I don't even charge for that. But good business, which obviously I'm being a bit stupid with that one because I'm not earning any money. But a good business would actually charge for that at the start because they're looking to do a really good job for you, and it's going to vary in price. It costs, doesn't it? Yeah, here's another one for you then. Reputation. So, if somebody's got a good reputation out there, then that stands for everything, doesn't it? It's not always everything, but it puts you in good stead if somebody says, oh, these guys are good, and you get multiple people saying these guys are good, use them. I mean, if you use somebody with a good reputation, it's more probable you're going to get customer satisfaction. Somebody that takes time, effort, somebody that's reliable, somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that commands excellence, and a lot of high pride in what they do overall. So reputation is second to none, really, because you're like I say, you've put yourself in good stead. But that's going to vary in cost as well, isn't it? If somebody comes there and they haven't got such a good reputation, and they got a couple of low stars or something on their reviews, and there's a few people not saying very good things about them, then you must expect that person to be cheaper than the person that's got all these traits that I'm mentioning. So there's another reason for varying costs for you. So this one, project management. I've just been talking to my current customer now, and I won't go into it. He's told me a story about what happened to him in one of his properties when a company went in and flooded it. So he employed a project manager, paid him a wage, which was a good wage, but he paid him a project manager to go in, manage the whole project. He didn't have an understanding of the work that was going on, and it just meant that he was comfortable in employing this person to go in and project manage. So if you're employing a company that's offering all these things, all these traits that I'm going on to you about here, then their project management skills should be just as good as their home skills and their experience and quality and all the rest of it, problem solving, everything. Project management is a part of that. So if you're going to get a company that's going to manage the project correctly for you, then that could actually save you money in the long term. Never mind about varying prices, that could save you money in the long term. But ultimately, if you're going to get a good person in to project manage it for you, then you are going to have to pay more money, and that's going to vary in price there as well, isn't it? The quoting stage or estimate stage, which one? So an estimate, just to be clear, an estimate is a written paperwork that estimates how much your project is going to cost. If you've got a quotation, then a quotation, I would say, is more kind of to what it is going to cost. A quotation is built up, the detailed quotation of what the project is going to cost, as opposed to what it's estimated to cost. That quotation as well, you're going to have everything on there to be kind of stipulated on there as to exactly what that company is going to be doing for the price. Because I have heard the horror stories out there that say the job is worth £35,000, and then a company comes in and they'll say, oh no, we'll do it for £25,000 for you. You get the blinkers on, you think, oh, I'll go for this now, great, and save myself 10 grand, yeah. But what they haven't stipulated in their estimate is exactly what they're doing. They get a foot in the door, and then what they start saying is, oh, we haven't priced for this, we haven't priced for that, we haven't priced for this one. And because they got a foot in the door, they're able to charge whatever they want, extortionate prices, because there's a fear then from the customer that if they don't pay it, then they go and their project's going to be left, and then the next builder is booked in for 6 months to a year, and they're going to be left in the poop. So what you do, you tend to pay it. Then you might end up paying a lot more than the £35,000 from the start. So get your quote or your estimate. I'd get a quotation. Sometimes a quotation doesn't work for what the client's asking. You've got to do a quote, but get some kind of accuracy. Get a quote if possible to cover you from that, because prices will vary if you come unstuck and people come in and they may take advantage of you for that. So just a couple of pointers then. Hope this helped you. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of this is common sense. Everybody wants a good job for the cheapest price. It's not always going to work out like that. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you could be having a mediocre job for a really expensive price. So it's about you being able to manage your own expectations, being able to root out the less trustworthy bunch out of the ones that are more trustworthy. Finding somebody that you think is going to be confident and experienced enough to be able to manage what you've asked them to do. Manage your own expectations, because at the end of the day, a lot of my customers, they don't know what things are going to cost, and life is not cheap anymore. So manage your own expectations as to what it's going to cost, because you don't know what it's going to cost until builders start coming up and telling you what the cost is going to be. You have absolutely no idea really, unless you've got some experience in pricing and working in the industry. So manage your own expectations as to what you think it is actually going to cost. Another one I found important over the years, you need to employ somebody who's going to be able to communicate with people like the builders, merchants, and also building control within your council, within your locality. So you need to have a good rapport and somebody who knows building control, and building control trusts them and they trust building control. And there's when you work with building control, I've always found it that it's not an us and them, and they're not there to be a pain in the backside. They're actually there to help you. And when you get to know the guys in building control, you build up that rapport with them, that trust with them, then the project goes through smoothly. There's not a lot of issues involved in it. So if you feel that this person can use all their experience and communicate and do a good job for you through building control, and through dealing with the builders, merchants, and the lads there in deliveries and hire equipment and stuff, it all counts as well. So, and again, for that, you're going to pay a higher price for somebody that's going to come in and go to town, because that does take a lot of time on the phone and organising and doing the right thing for your customer to get it right. It's going to cost more. I think be warned as well, because again, not mention any names. We had a job that was booked in last year very quickly. Booked in for about 6 months. I think it was about £25,000 worth of work booked in. Customer phoned and said, look, I would change of heart. It's too much money for them. They've had a cheaper price. They're going to cancel the job, keep the deposit. They said, Jess, we know you've got overheads and stuff to pay. Keep the deposit. So I think they lost 300 quid. They went with somebody else, did the job. We put a lot of work into getting the right materials, the right project, and so on and so forth. Then, literally, a couple of months later, they said, look, we've been here. They've done the job. They've dragged their heels on it. And they made a right cock up for us. We're thousands of pounds out of pocket. We're not happy with any part of the job. Can you come back in and can you give us a price to put it all right? And the answer to the question was no, simply because they had their opportunity to use us. They didn't take it. They took it and then they cancelled it. That was their decision, and we moved on. We'd had other projects booked in, and I wasn't dropping my current clients to go back there and sort out their mess that they'd got himself into, because their you know, they just saw that the cheaper price was the better price, and obviously it wasn't. So you've got to be really, really careful. But if you've got a price from varies from £8,000 to £35,000, then obviously I do understand. But I hope this has helped you. Don't go getting too many quotes. Don't go filling yourself up with 5 and 6 quotes. I don't see the point in it. Look at people's reviews. Look at people's reputation. Look at the good people out there, because there's loads and loads of us out there, or loads of people out there, good builders, who deserve a lot of credit, and you know, they deserve paying them for what they get paid, because they put a lot of hard effort into it. So that's what it's all about. Next video on the job, a little bit on stop on our current job, and it's beautiful weather. But next video, hopefully if we get it finished, will be out next Sunday. So if you've got any questions on this, then I'd be happy to engage with you and answer them. Leave them in the comments below, and I can try and get back to you. Or you can email us, which is brickright32@gmail.com, and Brickright is BRICKRIGHT. You could also contact us through the website, which is brickright.co.uk. I'd be happy to help you if I can. It's a minefield out there. But before you go, if you could like and share and subscribe to the video, really, really appreciate it. See you on the next one. Cheers.